Good evening, everyone. Mike Palmer from Know Your Rights Group and Success Coaching International with another important live video update tonight. Tonight we're going to be talking about the process for getting compensation from the government as a result of these lockdowns, restrictions, whatever you want to call them. Now, obviously, restrictions have significantly eased in most states, especially in Victoria. Finally, we are also expecting, hopefully, fingers crossed, a further easing of restrictions next weekend in Victoria, so that Melbourne is in line with regional Victoria and a lot more in line with the rest of the country. So it's now time to turn our attention to getting compensation from the government for all the losses that they have inflicted upon us to date. Now, I want to make it clear, when I talk about losses, okay, I'm talking about all kinds of losses, not just financial losses. Obviously, there's been significant financial losses that everybody's aware of, okay, but there's been a lot of other losses. Mental health issues have increased significantly, okay, for many people as a result of the lockdown. People who simply haven't been able to connect with family and friends. People who haven't been able to celebrate important milestones, birthdays, things like that. People who haven't been able to celebrate the life of a loved one passing. You know, so many different mental health problems that have occurred. Missing out on seeing, a loved one for the final time. Even just generally missing out on spending quality time with friends and family. All of these are considered losses. Okay, there's also been obviously significant physical losses as well. Simple things from people putting on weight. I mean, I know I've done that myself. Which can of course lead to other health issues as well. People having to undergo more invasive medical procedures because they weren't able to keep on top of other medical issues over the past 6 months. I mean, simple things like having to get a tooth ripped out, which might have been able to be filled or otherwise addressed if people had been able to get onto it earlier, which simply wasn't an option for a lot of people. People I know have suffered a significant amount of pain because elective surgery was put on hold for many months. I mean, the list is endless. Now, of course, on top of that, there is indeed the financial loss, not only for businesses, but also for many people who simply had these JobKeeper payments, okay, and they simply didn't cover what they would have otherwise been earning, so there's been a shortfall for them too. Now, we need to keep in mind, okay, that it's our illustrious leaders, and I'm talking about leaders from all states, that told us that they believed, okay, that these restrictions, that these lockdowns were necessary, to prevent us all from this virus. Okay, well, that's fine. If that's your position, then now you need to put your money where your mouth is. Okay, they all get paid very, very well for running the various states, okay, as they see fit, and that's fine. But with that power also comes increased responsibility. Okay, so they now need to take responsibility, not only for all the successes that they keep spouting on about and how they've reduced the COVID number of cases and driving down COVID numbers, all that sort of stuff, but equally they need to take responsibility for the losses that they've caused in creating those successes. Okay, so accordingly, it's now time to seek compensation for those losses. And I want to quickly run through that process with you. Now, as with most major projects in life, the key is to start with the bigger picture, focus on the end result, what you want to achieve, and then work backwards. So the end result in this scenario is obviously to receive some type of compensation, okay, from the government for the losses that they've inflicted on you and perhaps on your business. Okay, so how do you achieve that end? Well, you need to put together a claim, you need to explain your loss, and you need to be able to justify your position and, of course, request compensation as a result. But before doing that, you need to gather all your evidence, because it's that evidence that forms the basis of that claim. Okay, now we've explained this on numerous videos and radio shows that the first thing that we need to establish, okay, is did the various state governments actually have the lawful power and authority to bring in the lockdowns and restrictions in the first place that ultimately caused your loss? So to give you an example, I actually personally wrote to the Chief Health Officer here in Victoria, Brett Sutton, just a few weeks ago, and I simply asked him, can you confirm or deny whether myself and or my partner were in fact specified in and subject to a public health order pursuant to sections 117 and 118 of the Public Health and Wellbeing Act 2008. Now, he's finally got back to me and he's confirmed not only that we're not subject to such an order, okay, but he's actually gone so far as to put the following statement in bold. Now, I'm going to show you this so you can see I'm not making this up. Okay, this is the letterhead. Okay, this is the actual letter from Brett Sutton. Okay, and this is, you can see the highlighted passages here, and you can see the bit in bold, and this is the key bit. So what he said here is, your email of blah, 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 request confirmation of whether you and your partner are subject to a public health order pursuant to sections 117 and 118 of the Public Health and Wellbeing Act. Section 3 of the Public Health and Wellbeing Act defines a public order to mean an order made under section 117. So he understands exactly what we're asking and he acknowledges of it. Now, this is his response. The state of emergency declared throughout the state of Victoria and the directions issued following the state of emergency declaration are not a public health order made under section 117 of the Public Health and Wellbeing Act. Again, he has specifically put that in bold. He has brought attention to that response. Okay? He could not have made it any clearer if he tried. Okay? Now, this is obviously extremely important and hugely powerful because that now forms the basis of the evidence for our claim, okay, for compensation. By admitting that there is no public health order against us, it not only negates any fines, which by the way we never actually got, but now we won't get them because now we've got that letter which we carry on us all the time, okay, to show anyone that wants to question us on anything about how far away from home we are, whether we're wearing a mask or not, whether we're socially distancing or not. None of it matters now because of that response from the Chief Health Officer. Okay, but it also means that all of our freedoms and liberties that have been restricted up until now, including our ability to sustain ourselves, okay, has been without just cause. Very, very important. Because it's not only the order, for example, for my partner to shut down her business, but it's also the orders against all the other people that were told to stay at home so they weren't then in turn attending her business, which of course has affected her ability to sustain herself, okay, as it has done to me and many, many others. Okay, so it's really now just a matter of tallying up all our losses, okay, over the past 6 months, quantifying them, and then putting in a request for payment and compensation based on those grounds. Now, there is no doubt going to be a bit of back and forth, okay? We're not under any illusion that this is going to be all sorted in a month or two. But here's the thing, if it takes 12 months of back and forth and argy-bargy to figure it all out, but, you know, say a year down the track we actually get paid that compensation, does it really matter? Of course not. So the key is to get started. Now, if we can't negotiate directly with them, okay, with the government, then we turn to their insurers. Oh yes, do you understand? Do you know that the government is actually insured? Yes, by ComSure. Okay, how do we know this? Because I've already settled a matter with them when I got unlawfully detained back at the Sydney airport a few years ago. We spoke about on the radio show. I negotiated directly with their insurance company. Okay, so all of this is available to you, but you've got to have that strong paper trail. You've got to have your ducks all in a row. You've got to have everything lined up. You can't rush ahead with the process. You've got to follow the steps. Okay, now ultimately, if we can't negotiate with them, we can't negotiate with the insurance company, then we simply lodge a civil claim in the court. Okay, we provide that evidence that we've now established, and there's clearly going to be no defence against that claim. And all of you out there watching this can do this. Okay, now obviously in addition to the evidence that we've got, we're also hoping for a very positive outcome in regards to the High Court case. that's going to be heard in court this coming Friday, the 6th of November, which is, of course, as I've explained on previous videos, exactly why Daniel Andrews has earmarked the 8th of November, just 2 days later, as the date that he's going to lift the other restrictions, because he knows full well exactly what the High Court is going to rule. Okay? Now, in regards to the letter or the email that you initially send off, I've been asked by more people than I can possibly count over the past few months, oh Mike, can't you just provide a template letter? Okay, and up until now I've resisted doing that, and the reason is because, as I've said before, here at the Know Your Rights group, okay, we're very firm believers in that whole concept. You give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, but you teach him how to fish and you feed him for life. Okay, we're all about teaching people how to fish, teaching people how to learn about their rights, okay, rather than just handing them stuff, okay? But equally, I'm a realist, all right? I know that for the majority of people, if things aren't just handed to them on a silver platter, most people won't do anything, okay? And that is clearly evident by all the Muppets still out there wearing these ridiculous, pathetic, useless, flimsy masks, all because they're worried about they might get a fine. Okay, I have walked into so many shops and so many businesses in the last week, and no one has even said boo to me. Okay, please get rid of these things and go about living your life, breathing freely, smiling at people. I'm begging of you. I have told you so many times in these videos how easy it is to challenge any fine that you may receive, how the notices that you need to print off. Go back and watch these past videos that you can hand to businesses that say we won't let you in without a mask. I just haven't had a problem, and I've received so many emails and so many comments on our YouTube videos. Less and less people are being bothered by this now. More and more people are taking off their masks and going out into the world free, and I urge you all to do that. So, back to this template letter. Okay, after seeing the dismal response over the weekend, seeing that Muppet Palaszczuk being re-elected in Queensland, okay, I realised that most people are just, simply brainwashed. Okay, they're just not going to do anything unless it's handed to them on a silver platter. And I also know equally that the best way to stop this insanity is to do to them what they do to us, which is hit them in their back pocket. Okay, hit them where it hurts. So if we can give people a template letter, and that will cause people to go out and start making compensation claims against the government and forcing the government to hand over money, then that might finally be the result that we need to get these idiots to resign, and then we can bring in people like the Great Australian Party to actually make a difference. Okay, so on that basis, I'm letting everybody know I have uploaded a basic, it's only very basic, but it is a basic template letter, which you can all use as the basis for gathering your evidence in your state. Now, you will obviously need to change your details. You'll need to change the name of your Chief Health Officer. Depending on what state you're in, you might have to change the name of the act that you refer to, again, depending on what state you're in. But you can use that template letter as a basis for asking those simple questions and gathering that evidence. Okay, then you can also use that template as the basis for the default notice, okay, if they don't respond within your time frame, and just remind these people about that legal principle: silence is deemed to be acquiescence. Okay, so if they don't respond, it's deemed that there is no public health order against you, it doesn't exist, and that lack of response will equally form the basis of your evidence. So hopefully that all gives you now a definitive plan so that you can all move forwards, okay? And of course, if anyone's after any more specific or detailed assistance, we do offer those one-on-one coaching and mentoring sessions, and you can book those via the links on our health page, on our shop page. Of course, if you want more information about your rights, please grab a copy of our Know Your Rights book, the essential step-by-step manual for understanding and exercising your rights. If anyone has or is at all concerned about getting any fines, whether they're speeding fines, parking fines, red light camera fines, COVID fines, unregistered dog fines, not wearing a bicycle helmet fines, any kind of fines, grab that Aussie Speeding Fines book. There's links in the description. And of course, if anyone's struggling financially, you want to stop throwing good money after bad at the banks for any unsecured loan, credit cards, personal loans, anything like that, grab the Bank Secrets book. You can buy all of these individually via the links in the description. Of course, you can buy all three at a special discounted price via our combo packs, and you get those new tote bags as well. So I'm going to leave things there for tonight. I do look forward to speaking to you all again on Tuesday night as part of our radio show. One of the things we're going to be discussing on Tuesday night is this constant continued push for mandatory vaccinations, despite there being 0 cases in the entire country today. 0 cases, and anyone who does maybe get it down the track still has a 99.9996% chance of survival. So why the hell are we still talking about vaccinations? Okay, very important discussion that we'll be having on Tuesday night. But until then, I urge you all, as always, please get informed, get fired up, and get proactive. Talk to you all on Tuesday.